So it's been about 3 weeks or almost a month since my friend unfortunately passed away and left this dimension. And it's very sad and sickening, when you know that there's probably millions of other people that are going through very dark times right now, especially how the world is set up and how the world is. And they feel like there's no way out and there's no escape. And I understand that because I feel like that every single day. Every day I feel trapped. I feel like my potential is being drained and stripped away from me. Like, have you ever just felt tired? And I don't mean tired in the sense of just physical exhaustion, but spiritually tired. Like, your soul knows something is wrong. You know that you should be doing more than just working this regular 9 to 5 job. You know that you have a mental capacity and a mental tenacity, and you have a propensity for something totally different than what you're forced to do for money. And when you're in this position for a long time where you're constantly in survival mode, you're constantly working at a job that you don't like, you're constantly not receiving love or attention, and you're a touch starved male, you're trapped. You could be still living with your parents, or you could be living on your own, or you could, maybe renting rooms with somebody, or in a dorm, whatever your situation is. It's like the environment doesn't make you feel like you're a grown man or make you feel powerful because you're always under some type of rules, regulations, or jurisdictions. And it makes it brutal because this world demands so much from you, and this world takes so much from you, and this world wants to destroy you. This is not a nice, kind, loving place that we find ourselves in, gentlemen. We find ourselves in the hell realm, in a world that's designed to break your mind, to break your spirit, but not just only break it, to make sure that it never rises again, to make sure it's gone in the wind, and to make sure that you can never reach your full potential. So many of us, all we needed was just one opportunity to meet the right person. Hell, to be born into the right family, but of course we have no control over that. Imagine if you were born to wealthy millionaires or people that were connected, people that were respected, people that had a lot of money, and you would have went to a private school. You would have had a nice cushy job set up for you after you graduated, probably had a car at 16, a nice car, like a Mercedes Benz or a BMW at 16 years old. That's your first car, right? You would have went to prom and your life would have been totally different. But even if you were, like, especially if you're attractive and rich, right? But even if you were just like unattractive and wealthy, you still would have had something. Like, your parents could still pull strings for you. Like you may have had a girl to go to prom with you because your parents may have used some type of string pulling or whatever, because you're in that's that rich upper echelon crowd, and you may have had like a Stacy go with you to prom, maybe, you know, for whatever reason, like her Chad last minute ditched, and you're a rich guy or whatever. Your family's well respected and connected, and she's just doing this as just a favor for a friend, and so even that rich unattractive person can still have somebody to go to prom with, even if it's not real, right? And they got the money and the power to back it up. And once you get older in life, you realize that females, they become a lot more desperate when they got to pay bills. Like when women have to adult and they realize that, damn, okay, I'm gonna need to make some bread. Maybe I should have been nice to that nice guy who was trying to give me gifts for my birthday and all that, and I just ignored him and pushed him to the side. And now that guy's becoming a doctor. That guy's becoming an actor. That guy's becoming a rapper. That guy's becoming a factor. That guy's becoming, an athlete, a superstar. That guy's becoming a project manager. That guy's becoming something in life, right? Then the girl starts to regret, and then life gets real, and those bills get real, and then then it's OnlyFans, or only frauds, That's what I say, girls should only go with like their looks max. Like, if a girl's a 7 out of 10, right? Then the guy she should be messing with should be a 7 out of 10 as well. But nowadays, these girls who are 7 out of 10, and even in the lower rankings, they still want the 10 out of 10 Chad or Tyrone. And it complicates things because now a large percentage of women only want the top percent of men. So guys like us, the regular average day Joe, you know, or maybe the abnormal, because I know a lot of us in this position are not really the most normal people. I wouldn't say I'm the most normal person. I'm far from normal, um, very far from normal. It's probably why people try to parasite off you, because you're just not a normal type of person. You're a very unique type of person. And when you're a unique divine spark, there's beings that try to steal your spark and steal your creativity and try to feast and feed upon you. You know, these are demonic soul parasites. You got to stay clear of them. You know, but unfortunately for us, a lot of us we live in these hostile, vile environments where it's very toxic. A lot of our, a lot of your personality, it comes from the surroundings that you grew up in, right? A lot of your personality, it comes with the people who you grew up with, whether people accepted you, whether people listened to you or not, or whether they ignored you, or whether they teased you, or whether they laughed at you. Like that comes when you're developing your character, when your soul has been mind wiped from the loose harvesting process from the previous life, and you're born into this one. When you're and then your soul is kind of innocent in this stage, right? I mean, your soul really is innocent. Remember, like we're all victims here to the Demiurge. Yes, we are. None of us had no choice to be into existence. But when you're young, you can be shaped and molded, which is why a lot of propaganda is aimed at the children nowadays. There's a lot of propaganda. And I believe the Central Intelligence Agency, they didn't stop MK Ultra. They just classified it and hid it from the public and just amplified it. So now so now we're dealing with so now that's why the society's going crazy. We're dealing with ramifications of the amplification of MK Ultra and beyond, and not just MK Ultra. There's many more psychological weapons projects and stuff like that they were doing to the mind besides MK Ultra. MK Ultra is the one is one of the ones that became public. There's things that never became public because it would show you just how inhumane they can get, like some Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation type shit. You see how they can clone lab meat. What's stopping them from cloning people in a secret biolab in Area 51? Who can and what can stop them from cloning people? When you have like when in real life you have natural clones and they're called twins. You ever seen twins? How they look alike? There's still variations even within those, right? Like I don't think the twins share the same type of handprints. Like everybody on Earth, you have like if you look at your hands right now, you have a unique handprint. If you look at your feet, you see the lines on your feet or whatever, you have unique feet prints, like everybody has, unique stuff. But in the cloning lab, I wonder how that would work, But anyway, it's very soul crushing, man. This inherent evilness of this world. When you have perpetual battles every day, and especially people of my skin color configuration, I know everybody goes through it. I have to say it because I go through it every day. It's like if people would just stop being ignorant and biased, then I wouldn't be talking about it. But it sucks when you're walking down the street somewhere and people look at you and they decide to cross the street, like right when they see you. They were fine, and then they look up at you and then they cross the street, or then when you walk by, they pull their purses tighter. It's like they're still doing that. Like that's like it's the 1970s. Like you're still clutching your purse. Like who's gonna do that now? Like think about it. Like all these cameras and TVs, you'd be a fool to try to do anything nowadays in broad daylight. Especially with all the facial recognition, technology, and all the other crap that they have that they don't tell us how they track people. Like the government has a lot more stuff than they like to let the public know. There's things that are classified that they don't tell the public about that they utilize, right? So that's why I like to look into the classified sectors, because that's how I can tell they're lying. Oh, we're the government and we're running out of money. We don't have enough money to help people and stuff like that. We don't have enough money for healthcare. We don't have enough money to help the homeless people. but you have enough money to build an Area 51 base. You have enough money to build an underwater installation, a sensitive installation at the bottom of the ocean in classified positions. You have enough you have enough money to build secret moon bases as well. You have enough money to build secret cities underground that you don't tell the public about. You have enough money to make bioengineering facilities that are classified and hidden from the public's eyes. You have enough money to do that. Yeah, the Rand Stand Corporation. Yeah. So you have enough money to do that, but you don't have enough money to help the poor. See, when you know about the secret stuff, then you can call them out on their bullshit. You know, it's kind of when they be throwing up the Baphomet horns and you can see it. As Manly P. Hall said, signs and symbols run the world. You ever heard of Manly P. Hall? Look him up. Manly P. Hall. An esoteric wizard and mastermind. Right? And Manly P. Hall said, signs and symbols run the world. I be looking at these commercials and seeing Disney and all this other stuff, and I be seeing so much Freemason symbology, so much magic symbology, so much evil symbology. It's like they use the magic, they use the colors, they use the words, they use the frequencies and vibrations. They use that to brainwash people. They literally alter the frequencies of your mind so you can be more susceptible to this stuff. There's a book I want you to look up. It's called Mind War by Michael Aquino. Now, this book explains how the government has secret classified, pretty much psychological programs, and the Central Intelligence Agency is one of the main perpetrators, in which they utilize frequencies to make the masses more susceptible to certain things. Such as like certain frequencies on the radios when you listen to music, certain frequencies on your TVs, your Xbox, your PlayStations. Like there's certain things that they can send out without you actually hearing it, and these things can make you more susceptible to demons, to evil spirits, to more susceptible to all types of mind-altering psychological contaminations and vermins. So you got to protect yourself. You got to protect your soul and your spirit, people. There's demons are real. Let's not let nobody tell you about the spirit. Don't let nobody tell you that's not real. They're ignorant and stupid. They're ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about. Demons are very real. Spirits are very real. Very real. Demons are very real. I mean, look around. You live amongst them. A lot of people are demons, literally. They're shape-shifting entities. Put there could be somebody at your job right now that can be a shape-shifting entity. You sit there and that person will just always try to bother you at work or whatever. Next thing you know, one day you see that person walk behind a trash can and boom, disappear into a cloud of smoke. What the fuck? Yeah, sounds crazy, right? Sounds preposterous. But the esoteric, what is the esoteric? There's a lot of secret shit in this world that they don't tell us. Magic is very real. How can if you don't believe magic is real, look what happened in with the Krabby Patty, right? With the Jabby Jabby and the Krabby Patty from SpongeBob. Now the people now do you see what I mean? How you can get millions of people to be susceptible to certain things? Now imagine doing that to the World War II generation, the men who just got through fighting through Normandy to Germany. The men who got through fighting in World War II. Imagine telling them that they got to go on SpongeBob and they got to get a Jabby Jabby with a Krabby Patty, right? They'll be like, what? They're going to rebel, because, what happened in 2020 was hell. The whole world, everybody, by the millions, people were, let's just say very obedient and willing to serve special forces and interest because the shekels were flowing. And I'll just stop right there. I'll just stop right there. If you know, man. If you know. Like a lot of this shit in life, man, is orchestrated. Like none of this shit, man, that we going through, man, is just some random crap. Don't let nobody tell you that. Oh, man, it's just random. That's just life. It's just, none of this makes any sense. None of this matters. You have to be an idiot to believe that. Look how well the body's designed, even if it's by Yardeboff. Look at the cells in your body, and the cells within your cells, within your cells, within your cells, within your cells contain entire worlds and dimensions. Did you know that? On a microscopic level, you can look at your gut, your stomach, and you can see entire, ecosystems just inside your stomach. You can look inside your arm, your shoulder blade, and if they were to cut it open and look at under with a microscope, you can see living cells. You can see things that are living, things that are being eaten, devoured, the cells that are passing away. Your whole body is like a universe. It's a living, breathing thing. Your whole body's like a living, breathing functionality. You have things living on your skin. You can just hop out the shower fresh and clean, and you'll still have microscopic organisms that you can't see that'll still be on your body, And especially after you like jump into a pool or a river or something like that, like there's always going to be germs around us, always, because that's the way that the Demiurge designed it, right? So the soul trap matrix is makeshift and it's on some fake shit, simply. I really, I really want to be happy, but I find myself trying to cope, but like the copes don't really make me happy. They make me happy for a time, but I want real, genuine happiness. I want happiness that lasts a lifetime. No, 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 no. I want happiness that lasts an eternity. I want to be happy. I want to be able to run with the pretty girl in the sunflower fields, and pick her up and swing her around like 2 or 3 swings around in a circle and kiss her and hug her. And then we walk in the forest and pick berries. It's just like an anime fairy tale. And then we go fishing and catch fish by the river, and then we have like a little cabin by the lake, and a little dog comes over and laughs, or our dog comes over and like rolls in the grass, and we laugh, and the dog goes in there and bites in the river and gets a fish for itself and all that, and we have a cat nearby, and there's like an apple orchard, and it's just like a beautiful scenery, and it's me and my woman, and we just have, like, I yearn for that, but it's a fantasy. Why does my mind want a fantasy? I wonder if it's my soul, my divine spark, that it yearns for what it knows that can be possible in another dimension. But in this dimension that's ran by the evil god of the Bible, the Demiurge, in this dimension, in this realm, this hell realm, in this prison, the things that we really want, we can see it, and I can see it in my mind. I can close my mind right now and imagine things. Like, I do this a lot. It's called maladaptive dreaming, and I imagine entire worlds and realms and things of that nature. Because I rather imagine the worlds and realms in my mind than look around and see the hell that I'm in. Every single day is pain. Every single day is the same. Every single day is making me go insane. Broke, no money. The little food I got ran out. My mind is running out of patience. My soul is running out of patience. It's disturbing, right? I face psychological misery daily. I hear voices in my head. And when I mean voices, I mean it's the voices. It's like when I say that, people think I'm crazy, but it's pretty much the voices normal people hear as well. It's the voices that tell you can't do this, you can't do that. You're ugly, you're this, you're never going to make it. These voices, they can become a reoccurrence. These voices, these demons, these devils, these evil spirits, they can try to become your familiar spirits and then always be around you. But when you have emotional neglect inside your soul, it's like food for these evil beings. They want to latch on to your soul, latch on to your spirit, and parasite off of it and take some of your loose energy, your negative energetic manifestational frequency. And it really sucks, man. And honestly, I wish there was like a new world that was discovered. I wish there was like a new world that was discovered, right? And in this new world, like, we're like the pioneers, right? And it's going to be dangerous. Like, you're probably going to pass away. But I want to get to the point where we finally go into the jungle part. And we make a small little city with big old walls and big old cannons and machine guns. Because there's like Tyrannosaurus Rex type beings and giant snakes and giant lizard monsters. You know what I mean? Like in this planet. And we build like some type of city with like these giant walls, like Attack on Titan type shit, with like these big old energy, like these big old energy cannons and shit around, and then we're gonna have like a bubble shield around the outer perimeter, just in case, for extra backup. And we're going on an expedition, but like in these expeditions, let's just say another city's being built or something like that, right? And You may meet a girl on one of these expeditions. You start talking with her, but she doesn't know your past of being um, a failure or a loser, and then you try to start from there. But the problem is, if we keep the same mindset we have now to this new world, no, fuck, it's not even about the mindset. Let's just be real. It's about your looks. If it doesn't matter, you can go to the bottom of the ocean to the top of the moon. If you look unattractive to a female, she's not going to mess with you. But I'm just saying, in my anime filled fantasy mind, I would love to go to a new planet and like start working on a brand new city. And I happen to meet a cute girl that she maybe she's on one of the work crews, maybe she's one of the doctors assigned to the construction crews or whatever, maybe she's something, whatever, maintenance coordinator, whoever, and we start talking and we just have like a sci-fi adventure, right, in this new land, in this new world, like with experiencing danger and battles and mischief with my woman on my side, man. I want to have like, I want my Mikasa, but because let's be real, like Aaron didn't deserve Mikasa. Mikasa was actually strong, smart, and she gave it all for Aaron, just for Aaron to be an idiot in the end. Like the end of Attack on Titan made me so mad. Made no damn sense. But you know what I mean. You want a girl who's going to be there with you throughout your adventures. But a lot of us, it's over. And let's just be real. A lot of us will probably get cheated on. It doesn't matter if you're a good man or not. It doesn't matter if you lay the pipe down or not. You can lay the pipe down 3 times a day. It doesn't matter, because there's always going to be a Chad or a Tyrone that she's going to go to anyway. So it's like even if you do find somebody, you're probably going to get cheated on, especially if you're not a Chad or a Tyrone. If you're just a regular guy, it's over. That's why when you see like those regular guys who they marry like an ex OnlyFans model. You guys ever see those? Like, like the guys bragging about, oh yeah, my wife is so beautiful, and people are in the comments like leaving links to her to her dirty videos. That's so freaking funny, man. Damn, I'm trying to think. What was that one girl's name? She was an adult film actress, and she got married, and people were making fun of the husband or whatever. Because it's like, bro, you can't turn a thought or a bop into a housewife. You just can't, man. And when people learn that. But anyway, it's like a lot of us just want our partner. Like, we want our partner in a crime. Like, we want that girl who can be around us. But unfortunately for us, it's just not for us. It's like this life is going to give you what this life thinks you deserve, not what you think you deserve. This life gives you what it thinks that you deserve, or y'all the boss. The Demiurge does what it wants, so you can produce the most loose. Remember, this world only exists for one reason, and that's to because you're a divine spark. You are a piece of a living God, and that makes you a God. With your own ability to create realms, but this realm just controlled by this God. He has all types of security parameters that are draining us. We can't get to our full power, But this being or whatever created this existence, it does not have our best interest, and it does not want us to flourish, but it wants us to suffer. Remember, this whole place is created just to produce loosh. And what is loosh? Loosh is why you wake up in the morning and you dread going to work. And you're like, I don't feel like going to work today. That's loosh. You just produced it. Even if it was a low vibrational frequency, the Demiurge doesn't care because there's different variations and different levels of loosh. You hop in the shower and let's say you're in the shower and you're still halfway asleep in the shower, wakes you up a little bit, but before you hopped in the shower, you took a bowl hit. And then you're supposed to be in the shower for 15 minutes and you look and you were in there for 25, 30 minutes. You're like, oh shit, now you're running late for work. Oh man, oh my God. And the other day on your job, they just had a meeting saying that if anybody comes late to work again, they're going to be fired. So now you got to rush. Now oh my gosh, you're scared. Like you didn't even dry your hair. You just rushing to work so you can make it, almost getting into a car crash, all of that just so you can make it into work. That worry, that panic you feel, that terror you feel in your heart is called loosh. That negative energy is being generated on purpose. Let's think about the big picture. Is that job really that important? In this world, it is, because that job is the difference between life and death. So yes, the job is important, but if you look into the grand scheme of things, 100 years from now, is that job important? It's not going that company's probably not going to be in existence anymore in another 100 years. But right now, when you're living, it's important because this hell is customized to you. All the negative experiences and events that you're going through is customized for you. You're supposed to experience hell in a hell realm. The Bible that they told you about and them blaming it on the devil. Is the devil wicked? Of course. But who's the father of the devil? Who gave the devil his power, authority? Who put the devil in position to run the world? Why would a good, loving God put his creation on the same plane of existence with the devil, who is supposed to be his enemy? But yet the same God made a bet with this devil in the story of Job, just to destroy Job's life. That proves to you right there that this God can just play with your life at will. That's not a loving, caring creator. That's a monstrosity. In Gnosticism, we call it the Demiurge. He's not the real father. He stole the divine light of creation. He stole it when Sophia, the Aeon, his mother, created him on accident. We are all talented in our own ways. We all have something about us that makes us very unique. Don't let nobody take that from you. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not talented. Don't let nobody tell you that you don't have what it takes to make it. Don't let nobody tell you that you don't have what it takes for greatness. Don't let nobody tell you that. I don't care if you're working at that crappy ass job, and I don't care if you look like Darkwing Duck. I don't care how you look like. Get your money up, and then you can at least pay for the sexual alleviation. But I understand the emotional alleviation is a prioritization, at least for me. I can't just pay for it, you know? I want the emotional connectivity. I want to be able to look the girl in the eyes in the morning, grab on that butt, smack that booty a bit, pinch that butt, kiss her on the neck, sit there and talk for a bit as she kissing on my neck, I'm kissing on hers. You know what I mean? I love those moments. Well, I wish I could love those moments. You know what I mean? How about this? I love thinking about those moments that I never had. Isn't that weird? Isn't it weird to close your eyes and imagine kissing a girl, imagine kissing your crush, and it makes you instantaneously happy until you remember that it's a fantasy, then it makes you instantaneously angry. I think it's sufficient to say that it negatively impacts a man's cognitive functionality and cognitive ability when he doesn't have a woman in his life. It negatively affects your emotional regulation and stabilization, and it negatively affects these things. And what a sick world we live in. you know I was watching this little documentary, and it was about this lady, and she was like 70. She was almost 80 years old, and they were congratulating her for working at this job for like 55 years or something like that. And they were and like they gave her like a little cake party or something like that. And I'm thinking, that's the best you can do. This lady dedicated her entire life. 55 years is an entire lifetime. You dedicate it to a company, and the best they can do for you is throw you a little ice cream pizza cake party. They don't give you no type of assets that you can own in a business. So when you retire as an old woman, you can have a pension or something set up for you where you don't have to work a job, and you just get a paycheck from the damn company that you put 55 years of your soul and your life into. These companies can just fire you and cut you off. And that's exactly what happened to that lady. After they gave her that little party, I think it was about like a month later, they quietly let her off, saying that her health, something about her health concern. It was something like that. I don't know. But they pretty much like used her for 55 years and then pretty much disposed of her. And a lot of us are probably going to be working to old age. Think about it. If you're not rich and you're not a millionaire, you're probably going to be working into your 60s. If you're working at a regular, think about it. If you don't get rich, if you don't get successful, that story is going to be similar for a lot of us. If we don't become wealthy, if we don't become successful, think about it. If think about it, you have bills, right? You need a place to live. So that means you want to have to work for the place to live. which means that if you're not a millionaire, you're going to have to work every single day of your life until you're in your old age, until you can't physically work no more. And you don't have no pension set up or nothing, and you don't have no savings, or you got $20,000 in savings. Is that enough to last you for medical treatment? Because when you get older, you have all types of health problems and shit from all the stress and pollution that went on through your life. All that loose and negative energy being harvested from all the jealousy and fights you had to face, all people being jealous of you, people talking about you, being mad, being scared, being this, being all that energy, that does something to the mind, and it does something worse to the body. Well, actually, it does something worse to the body and even worse to the spirit, because all this negative energy is not good for us. It's not good to constantly being in survival mode, constantly looking over your shoulder, constantly worrying whether this is going to happen or that's going to happen, whether you walk outside and somebody's going to try to do something to you just based on how your appearance is, based on your visual appearance. That's scary, man. It's scary to walk out your house not knowing if something bad's going to happen to you, simply because it could be somebody that's trying to get you, right? Who you don't know. So now you got to stay strapped, right? Now you got to watch your back. As a lonely man, you only got yourself that you can count on, really, that you can watch your back. A lot of us are alone, so we got to watch our own selves back. We got to watch our own back, That's why a lot of us, as we get older, we get more, I'm not going to say standoffish, but we get more, not anybody can just approach us, because we had people just approach us, and they were vultures in disguise. They were backstabbers. Certain people you can just look at and tell that person is going to be evil. There's been people that I've seen that I just took one look at their picture and I was like, oh, this person's a problem. This person I don't want to be around this person. And that person turned out to be exactly what you thought when you first saw them. A snake. Somebody that would backstab you. Somebody that would betray you. Somebody that would just immediately go and attack you. You got to watch out for people like that. People that love to start shit just to start shit. Those people are the biggest problem makers ever. Got to stay away from those type of demons and evil,